I was about to take a bite when my phone buzzed. I glanced discreetly at the screen. "Don't eat, just trust me." It was my mom, sitting 3 seats away at the same table. My stomach sank. My husband raised his glass with a plastic smile. "Please, enjoy." 3 months ago, I lost the baby after a complicated pregnancy. Between hospital stays and tests, I had lost almost everything: hope, peace, even myself. His mother insisted on this dinner, claiming it was time to move on. But with that message from my mom and all eyes on me, I felt anything but welcomed. I'm Jess, 34, and this is my story at the table with his father, brothers, and his ex seated as if she belonged. I realized the dinner wasn't a reunion. It was a trap. She smiled too much, touched him constantly, dropped hints about their past. My heart raced. Then I noticed my mom subtly mouthing, "Something's in your plate." I didn't know what exactly, but I knew enough. Poison, or something worse. I pretended to eat, started recording with my phone hidden among the glasses. Every glance, every gesture documented. When I excused myself, I slipped a piece of food into my purse. In the car, my mom said nothing. She just held my hand while I cried in silence. It wasn't just the dinner. It was everything: losing my child, the quiet contempt from his family, the betrayals I had only just begun to see. That night, I accessed my husband's email. Messages between him and his ex detailed plans, coincidences timed with my hospital stays. Lines like, "She, give up soon." My grief turned cold. This wasn't marriage, it was a game. I was ready to flip the board. I contacted an investigator. His voice was calm but firm. "You're in danger. Don't eat anything from that house." My world shrank into vigilance. I started gathering proof: bank statements, messages, audio recordings, hidden cameras. Every move they made, every cruel word, I captured. A week later, Helen, my mother-in-law, appeared with cookies and flowers. Sweet on the surface, ice beneath. While she stirred tea, my camera caught her. The investigator confirmed toxic substances. Low doses but continuous exposure enough to destabilize me. The house wasn't a home. It was a trap. I began my silent war. I documented, reported, and exposed. My husband lost his positions. His ex vanished. Helen's perfect matriarch image cracked. Evidence built like a wall I could hide behind while dismantling theirs. Then came the files. I hadn't expected an old psychiatric report from 7 years ago. My name, my birth date, her signature. My mother-in-law had manipulated the system long before I even knew my husband. Institutionalized abuse, disguised as care. I fed the evidence to a journalist. Exposure was contagious. Other victims came forward. Patterns emerged: manipulation, falsified records, inheritance schemes. Helen Parker was not just cruel. She was methodical, serial. Even with public exposure, threats followed. Calls from unknown numbers, photos outside my safe locations, attempts to hack my bank. Fear became routine, but I kept control. The law, the evidence, the truth, my weapons. Then I uncovered the silent partner, Arthur Bellman, a lawyer funding and orchestrating Helen's schemes. His name connected hospital documents, contracts, and illicit transfers. The system had protected him for years. Not anymore. Through evidence, lawyers, journalists, and patients, the walls closed in. Helen Parker was indicted. Bellman's financial manipulation and complicity were exposed. My husband's complicity became public. Finally, the court recognized the depth of their crimes: falsified medical documents, emotional abuse, financial manipulation, and attempted harm. Justice wasn't fast, but it was precise. My revenge wasn't loud. It was methodical, invisible, undeniable. I returned home to my own life, reclaiming my space, my security, my peace. Therapy helped me navigate the scars. My mother and I rebuilt, our bond gentle and patient. Love returned, Not as a savior, but as a companion. The threats didn't fully disappear. Helen Parker still had Elise, but the power had shifted. My story had become a shield for other women, a testament that survival can be strategic. That revenge can be intelligent and restrained. And when my phone buzzed one night with a private number, a calm voice said only, "You know me, but you don't know what I know." Helen didn't do it alone. The next weeks became a game of shadows. Every move I made was mirrored by subtle counters. Doors left ajar when I returned. Cars parked near my street that weren't there before. Anonymous notes slipped under the door. My every instinct screamed. They were still watching, still plotting. But I wasn't afraid, I was focused. I mapped their network. Emails, shell. Companies, bank transfers, contracts. Every detail connected back to Helen and Bellman, but also hinted at more. And then came the flash drive from my ex-sister-in-law of evidence of conversations I hadn't known existed. Audio of my husband saying, "She's more useful alive than dead." That sentence became my fuel. I passed everything to the journalist, to the DA, to my lawyer. Slowly, deliberately, the dominoes fell. Helen Parker's medical license suspended. Bellman's offshore accounts frozen. My husband stripped of every position of influence. The ex vanished completely. But I didn't stop. Every document, every piece of correspondence was cross-checked and stored. I knew one misstep, one missing link could undo all the progress. The thrill wasn't in revenge, was in control. In reclaiming a life that had been carefully dismantled around me, and then came the final puzzle. The handwritten signatures on the domestic partnership contract. The hidden clauses favoring my husband. The hospital document manipulations all traced back to Helen and Bellman. The realization was crushing and exhilarating at once. My life had been scripted against me. And now I had the pen. I filed for annulment, presented the evidence, and watched the legal system move. Slowly, deliberately, the system I had once thought was my enemy became my ally. And as Helen's and Bellman's networks began to crumble under legal scrutiny, I felt a strange serenity. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about rewriting the rules of the game they thought they controlled. About ensuring no one else could be ensnared as I had been. Months later, the indictments were public. The press picked up every detail. Helen Parker faced criminal trial. Bellman's complicity became national news. My ex-husband, the enabler, was left exposed, defenseless, and desperate. I returned home one evening, alone, and walked through rooms that had once been traps. Each space now quiet, secure, mine. Hung one new frame on the wall, a copy of the lawsuit with my name on top. Not as a trophy, but as proof I survived. And when I finally looked at my reflection, I saw someone unrecognizable from the woman who had walked into that dinner months ago. Stronger, sharper, unbroken. One quiet night, a message arrived. Helen didn't do it alone. I smiled. I had learned the most important lesson. Monsters can plan, but survivors can outthink them. And when the time comes, the quietest revenge is often the deadliest.